Welcome to Toffee Blue Interview. See what I did there with the word change? I'm Gerry, as usual, as always. This particular interview is with a fellow American, all right? So sometimes I'll try to say football, but a lot of times I'm going to say soccer so as not to confuse things. So apologies for all the soccer bombs that I'm about to drop, all right? My friends in England, please don't hate it. Today is kind of special, guys, because this time I get to speak with a former player. In 2009, 2010, he played for the Everton Reserve squad. He also has played with Real Salt Lake of MLS, Vancouver Whitecaps, Wilmington Hammerheads, Carolina Dynamo, and he led, in 2007, he led Wake Forest University to an NCAA men's soccer, football, whatever you want to call it, championship, all right? So without further ado, it's my pleasure to announce and welcome to the show, Cody Arnoux. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for being here.
I appreciate it. I've been looking forward to getting on it for a while now.
Well, for all the viewers and listeners out there, Cody's actually in the same state that I'm in, North Carolina, both in America. So this is kind of a cool little link up for me. All right. So if you see me geeking out here, or you hear it in my voice, you know why. All right. So, so let's start with some Everton questions. Because the majority of our listeners and viewers that's one of the reasons why they follow us. So could you tell us the story of how you got to Everton? How'd you get there?
Well, grew up in Wilmington, North Carolina. Believe it or not, my agent's son actually played for the Wilmington Hammerheads growing up. His name was Graham Smith, so kind of had a little connection there. He was a former player in the Premier League for years, and ended up just kind of catching his eye as a youth, right? So kind of followed my story all the way up and kind of approached me and my father and just was kind of interested in what was going on and where I was in school and that type of thing, and said that he was interested in maybe setting up a trial. So I just happened to go over there on spring break from college one year, my junior year, and trained with the reserves and trained with the first team one day. And I guess they saw something they liked, and I think they kind of took a chance and just wanted to see if I could, progress and develop a little bit into something that they could that could help them or however. And so, it kind of started as simple as that. And so I guess I went over and impressed a little bit and ended up getting a contract offer. So it was, a hard decision for me to leave school a year early. People in England don't. It's a different college structure than what it is over there. So here, it's we don't go into pros right away. A lot of us go into college first, and that's changing now, obviously, with MLS academies and that type of thing. But so for me to leave, it was a big decision, but obviously an opportunity I couldn't say no to. Different culture, different country, that type of thing. So I knew there was going to be a lot of obstacles, but it's just something I couldn't say no to.
Awesome. You got to Everton. You arrived there with Anton Peterlin. Am I pronouncing his name correctly? I don't want to butcher the fellow's name. So he's another American. Did you guys pal around together while you were there, just because you're both in similar circumstances?
Yeah, absolutely. We were both about the same age. He was, I think, a year older than me. But yeah, we had a lot of things in common as far as both being from the United States. But it was really cool to come into a club not really knowing anything. It was my first professional experience really, and I didn't really know what to expect. And I think when a young kid comes into 21 is young for our age, but really that's not that young for over there. But it was cool. The fact that we were welcomed the way we were, especially with the reserve team, we were a close bunch at the time. Hope Akpan was there. Seamus Coleman and I still talk very frequently. The group of guys that were there were very welcoming, and I think that really helped us adjust. And I really couldn't have asked for a better situation and a better group of guys. Jose Baxter was there, and a lot of guys that have now since left the club. But it was a really cool first experience for me. It was very special.
I actually think Baxter is back right now.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, it's a brief, they brought him in just to kind of help him kind of get back, so it's a cool situation for him.
That's awesome. Good for him.
Yeah, I think he's playing with the U23s right now, so pretty neat little situation.
Probably still really young, so.
He probably is, you're right, to us.
Yeah.
So you were at Everton at the same time as Tim Howard.
Right.
As a fellow American, did he do anything to try to kind of give you advice, help take you under his wing, or was he literally just with the first team and you never got much interaction?
Yeah, we didn't really interact that much. I would have liked to a little more, but I think, he has a family and everything like that, and I was a young kid, so I would have liked a little more interaction with him. But it's a business, and it's you're there to play soccer and
Yep.
football, and I never held it against him or anything like that. But I think that if the situations were reversed, maybe I would have maybe reached out a little more to kind of get fellow countrymen, um, you know, immersed in the culture and that type of thing. But no, we didn't speak that much, just at the training ground. Frequently at the training ground,
Right.
eating or that type of thing and seeing each other. But I didn't train with the first team that often. So, our interactions were pretty small, not a lot of them, but that's okay. Like I said, that's part of it. Actually he plays in Colorado now with, a fellow Demon Deacon of mine, Jared Watts. So, which is funny. Just
Yeah.
a world, obviously.
It's kind of weird how I never really considered. I talked to the guys on our show, and they're from the area like around Liverpool and in there, and I realized how small the football world is in England. They're talking about, oh, I talked to Peter Reid the other day. Oh, and I've met Leighton Baines, and I'm sitting here just like grumbling because.
Right. Oh yeah, no, it especially there. It's you learn quickly that it's, first of all, it's a country small on its own, right? And compared to the United States, obviously, but just there's so many players that have been one place and gone to another, and no players there that have gone played somewhere else, and no players there. So it's definitely a small world.
Yeah, it's actually smaller in the U.S. than I realized. The connections that I told you we slightly have, and then and then the connection that you have with the Wake players that's in Colorado. Watts. That's just it's so strange.
That's across the board for MLS too. I mean, you play one place, you play in college. Players that play at other colleges. I mean, the football world is really small.
Yeah. So. Landon Donovan got to Everton a little bit later on
Right.
loan. Wasn't there very long. Did you get to know him at all?
Yeah, a little bit. I think Landon was kind of in this, believe it or not, as a big time player as he was. I think he kind of was a little bit in the same boat I was, kind of being thrown into a 3-month loan and no pressure given the number 9. So, but I remember that's the first thing he said to me. It was when I was like, "Hey man, huge fan, watched you in a couple World Cups, just big fan of yours." And we were talking, and he's like, no pressure here. They gave me the number 9, so. But no, he worked out. I mean, I think Everton fans loved him to death, and they, he was a great player, and it's pretty sad not to see him selected in the last World Cup, but he's doing a lot of things for U.S. soccer right now, and I think he has our best interest at heart. So I'm excited to see how he can further the sport in this country.
So let's talk about. I've got some other questions about some other first team stuff, but I want to talk more about you for a little bit in your play, because that's what I'm most interested in is your journey and what it was like playing there. So did the style of play in England and at Everton did it suit you?
That's a good question. It's just I think it's just different. Unfortunately, in going from college soccer to to professionals as quick as that transition happened. In college there's subs and that type of thing, and so I'd never really been on this is even pretty awful to say, but I've never really been on a team where you were expected to play 90 minutes. So I think going into kind of jumping into it where I wasn't super fit enough to play 90 minutes, that was kind of the biggest adjustment to me. I'd always been able to score goals. I had a couple in the reserve league. So scoring goals to me was just a lucky thing that I was able to do. It wasn't because I was good at one thing or another. I just found myself in good spots. But certainly I'm used to sunny weather and no rain and everything. So it definitely took a little while to get used to that on the training ground and in games. But yeah, no, it wasn't one thing or another that was more difficult than the other. It was just that the players were so good. Everyone's so good, and it's a small knit, professional realm over there, and everyone's so talented. So you have the United States where there's 300 plus million people, right? And then you go over there, and everything's just so much smaller. So I was lucky enough to play with some really good players around me and against some really good players, and yeah, it was a really, really cool experience for me to be over there. The people of Liverpool were amazing always. They welcomed me, and I'm a nobody coming over there, and people knew my name when I'd see them, and so it was people actually more so knew Seamus when he was with me, but but that was fine. So, but yeah, it was. I mean, everyone was just so nice, and I got a really cool view of Scousers and people from Liverpool and that type of thing. So I couldn't be happier with it.
What was probably the toughest adjustment that you were asked to make? This can be either about your play or personal life, whatever it just sounds like a tough situation.
Yeah, no, it was tough at first, and like I said, they welcomed me with open arms, and I had a lot of friends that were, right off the bat, guys that I didn't think were going to welcome me. But the toughest adjustment for me was definitely not having my family there. I'm only child, so in the UK it sounds like a long distance, but Wake from where you are to where I am is 3.5 hours. Yeah. So that wasn't far from me from my family. Like that's close. So then I jumped a pond and I'm 6.5 hour flight. So that was a big adjustment for me. Not being able to see them regularly and missing holidays and such things in which I'd never really done before. So that was tough for me, but it's all part of the game. It's all part of trying to be professional and get through it and not have the little details bother you. But that definitely more so around Christmas and Thanksgiving and times like that where I could feel it a little bit more.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. You played on the reserves with Seamus Coleman, Duffy, Mustafi, Gosling, Forshaw, Vaughan, Garbett. These are familiar names. You mentioned that you bonded really well with Seamus, and you guys still talk. Is there anybody else that you still keep in touch with from that team besides I guess maybe Anton? I don't know if you still keep in touch with him.
Anton and I haven't spoken in a while. I haven't spoken in a while. I mean, not for any reason or another. Just he just got married actually, so congratulations to him. Hope every once in a while I'll talk to Hope just through Instagram and stuff like that. But Seamus was the only one I really keep up with. I know Adam's doing well. I know Luke's still there. Let's see who else. Obviously, Donnie's done really well. He won a World Cup, so. But yeah, so those guys are big time, and I'm not. So and I don't mean it in that way. Just they're big time guys. They're stars, and I'm a nobody. So it's Seamus keeps up with me, and he's just such a great guy. My dad was actually over there, and a couple of my friends were over there recently, saw a game, so he got them tickets, and they had a great time. But yeah, no, I know Seamus' family's growing, and everyone's getting older, and as everyone gets older, people drift. It's just the way things work. But those guys are all doing great, and I'm so happy for them.
Yeah, I'm gonna give a brief caveat to viewers and listeners here. Okay, when Cody says he's a nobody. I'm just going to say I go to a lot of Wake Forest soccer games, all right? And I talk to, there's a really ardent fan group there called the Congregation, all right? And Cody is definitely not a nobody in Winston-Salem, especially around that crew. Just saying. All right? I realize we're talking relative terms, all right? But trust me. For our fans from England, I'm not sure if they completely understand the fanaticism for college sports and university sports here in America. Right. I was trying to explain it to one of my English friends the other day and saying, America's so spread out, we don't have a lot of local professional teams to pull for. And
Right.
so the best soccer we have in the area, Wake Forest, by far, because they're the best in the nation,
Yep.
at that
Yeah.
level. So it's, yeah.
And it's all, like you said, the same. It's all relative too. I mean, we have like you said, a tremendous supporters group, and it's a couple of thousand compared to at Everton, it's you know 5, 6, 8 times that, right? You know what I mean? So
Getting back to Everton, thinking about the reserve squad, who probably impressed you the most when you were there, when you saw them play, when you saw their work ethic, determination. Who were you looking at and you're thinking they're going to be awesome?
well, obviously, we've talked about him a lot before, but Seamus, the year that I was there was when Seamus was making his flip flop from reserves to first team action, and I remember he they won a game. He came on and they beat Tottenham, and he got man of the match, and we were all like, oh wow, bye bye Seamus, like we're not gonna see you training anymore. But no, I mean, I knew Duffy was 16 or 17 when I was there, so I knew he had what it took to he had the hard knock, that that ability to, you knew there was something there. They just had to kind of mold it. So obviously he's doing really well now. He's playing for where is he, right?
He's at Brighton.
So he's there now, and he's playing for the Irish national team, and I mean he's really come into his own. I mean, he always knew he had the frame and the body to be a big center back and a scary one, and he liked smashing people, which was it's what you need to do. But yeah, he's doing well. It was funny. Ross was actually coming into the reserve fray as I was kind of finishing up my lone year there. So it's funny. At 15, he was coming in. I'm 21, so it was just interesting to see. You knew for sure. Especially, it's good. It was just funny to see like the eyes that the coaches had. Because he comes in and he certainly was a big kid at 15, but not what he is now. So it's just funny to see that they knew at that young age that he was going to have something.
Yeah.
Obviously he's gone on to do great things, and he's been injured for a while now. So it was cool to kind of see him, even though I was gone, to watch him kind of build his way into the first team at 17 or 18 years old. So that was cool.
We were talking about the reserve squad that impressed you the most. You were competing with the likes of Saha, Anichebe, Yakubu, and Joe for a first-team striker position.
Right.
Now, I know in order to be a player, to actually continue to progress, you have to have that confidence to say, I'm the guy. It seems like it would be intimidating for a 21-year-old who's in another country to see that stiff of competition for the first team position. Were you focused on first team, or were you focused on, let's just do my job in the reserves and I'll improve?
Well, I think when you go into a situation, you always want to play first team. The team was so good that obviously that wasn't really a realistic expectation. So you kind of try your hardest to get better at the reserve level,
right,
and hope to impress, and then make your way up. That's just kind of how everything works. So yeah, I mean, when you're playing with the people you just named, I mean, there's no room, and it was, I mean, I've played with good players before, but that was, to see those types of guys in training was just mind blowing to me. I mean, how good they were. I mean, there were times when the reserve team would play, we would come in to train with the first team, and I mean, I'd go a training session without touching the soccer ball. Like they're just that much better in everything they do. So I mean, that was really cool to see.
You were there with Tim Cahill, Arteta, Phil Neville, Fellaini, Pinar, Jagielka, Baines. I mean, these are really, really strong players.
Well, it was kind of funny because a lot of the first team guys were a little bit older, right? So families, Tim Cahill, that type of thing. Actually, Tim ended up obviously coming back and playing MLS. So
yeah,
I was able to talk to him a few times after games. He played for Red Bull, so when we would play them, I was on the occasion I was able to speak to him briefly. But the only the full day-to-day interactions that I would have with kind of first team guys would be in the canteen, or and a lot of times too we'd have obviously Jack Rodwell and Dan Gosling.
Yeah.
They were pretty much interchangeable. Obviously towards the end of the season, Jack really started not playing with the reserve team anymore. But there would be times where he would train with us, and and we're talking 2009 here, so for people that aren't understanding what I'm saying, Jack playing in the reserve team. But so I mean, those guys, just like I said, they were the nicest guys to me, and that even Vic, hung out with Vic a little bit. I mean, to me it was surprising walking into a professional environment and having people welcome you, because you hear such horror stories about it being, dog eat dog world, and just everyone only really cares for themselves. They're trying to make their money and this and that. But I really enjoyed the culture and the environment that was there. Leighton was as big time as they come, and to say hello to a young kid like me every day meant the world to me. Phil was Phil. He's just all over the place all the time. He's excited and happy, and he really was a great leader, and and just kind of didn't care who you were, was going to say hello to you. I mean, for a young kid, and especially somebody that is kind of out of their element, it was really just a cool thing for me to have those guys like say hello to me, know my name, that type of thing. But I think it's just part of the culture at Everton.
Would you say that the culture and the people are maybe what you miss most about Merseyside?
Absolutely. Yeah, no question. I don't really think what you have, that saying, you don't really know what you have until it's gone. And, I mean, as out of place and, out of my realm where I'm used to, as I was in Liverpool, and as much as I, at times was like, oh, this is tough. Like, I'd love to just, be back home playing or this and that. When I finally was done and came back to the States, I missed it. I really did. I missed the entire, I missed everything about Liverpool, to be honest with you. It's just the people were so nice there. So I did end up missing it more than I thought I would. And I think that's a testament to the city and the people and the clubs.
Okay. What was the high point at Everton for you?
Let's see. I'm a striker. I love scoring goals. So, I had 3 in the reserve league, or 2 or 3 in the reserve league. And, like I said, it's all relative, but, I remember playing 90 minutes against, Stoke City in a reserve game. And, we ended up drawing 1-1, but, we were down 1-0 and I ended up scoring a goal. And like I said, it's all relative, but that for me, that's probably one of my high points. And just, being able to kind of help the guys that maybe didn't know who I was, or that maybe didn't trust me as an American, kind of being in a foreign land, and it was just to kind of have that. It was really cool to me, and one that I always look back on.
Now, I noticed you scored in one of your first games too. I was looking at the stats. And I was like, it's like his first game or something, man. It was awesome.
I scored off a corner. It was a header. I forget who we were playing, but I mean that was a cool one too. It's just like I say, you always remember the goals, right? So, but yeah, it was cool to come in. I came off the bench in like 75th minute or something. Got my first minutes and scored. So it started well.
Yeah. So I'm going to start wrapping this up, but I need to say. 2007 national championship game against Ohio State. The play you made for the equalizer, where you strip the defender, keep the ball in bounds, because I know a lot of Ohio State people were saying that they thought it went all the way over the line. It didn't. I saw replays. Keep it in, bolt for the box, and then put this perfect ball right in for Marcus Tracy, and he just bangs it in.
Yep.
Such a nice goal. I was watching on TV, because it was a big deal as a Wake fan of Wake soccer and grew up. It was an awesome moment. What a play. So that's not a question. It's just awesome. And I felt like the people out there needed to know that. But as far as my brother-in-law and sister were at that game. Another weird connection.
It was a fun for sure.
Oh yeah. You played college soccer, and this is going to be my big wrap it up question, just because I think it has to do with U.S. soccer culture. Okay.
Right.
Let's say a high school soccer player, very talented, doesn't have a lot of money. Let's say they're about 17 years old. okay?
Right.
In the middle of their senior year. They don't have the money to play academy, okay? They don't, and they're trying to figure out what their next move is, all right? Now, obviously, human circumstances but you have to give them some advice. And they're thinking, A, I'm going to graduate and focus on getting a scholarship and playing college ball. B, I can try to play for a team like the Carolina Dynamo and maybe get noticed by a bigger squad. Or C, work hard, save a bunch of money, and go to a different country and try to make it there.
Right.
What is the actual, for somebody who's been there and you've been in multiple paths?
Well, therein lies the problem in what you just said right there. In America, we're a pay-to-play sport. And that's if we ever wanted to grow, that needs to change. If you're good at something, obviously in Europe and almost all the other countries in the world, really, if you're good at something, if you're good at football, if you're good at soccer, right, you're getting noticed at an early age, and you're being asked to come and train and play in their academy system. And I'm not super familiar with it, but I'm pretty sure that there's not fees involved in that. Now, maybe there is, I don't know. I'm sure if there is, they're minuscule. Here, it's a ridiculous amount of money to play soccer. You could be best player in the country at your youth age, and it just doesn't matter. You're paying to play, which to me doesn't make any sense. So, in that terms, in the question that you just posed, the only real option to me would be to work your butt off and try and get a scholarship. Now, we're trying to shift away from that to where, just like in Europe, we're building up our players through our academies.
Right.
Whether it's a Columbus Crew Academy or Real Salt Lake or Vancouver Whitecaps, teams like that are building up their academies to try and push through pro players and push through young promising players. But it's just something that needs to change in U.S. soccer, and it's obviously it's apparent that we're not doing the right things because we can't qualify for a World Cup, which is it's one of the saddest things I've seen in a really long time. And I'm not knocking players or anything like that, but I think our players aren't held to the certain accountability that they should be, just like they are in the UK or in England and Spain and France and throughout the world. If your players don't perform, they're held accountable for it. By the fans, by managers, and we just don't have that here.
Right.
It's like we had a bad game, and we'll get them next time, and that type of thing. And that's not. You need to be hard on players. That's what drives them to be better, and it's what allows them to think that what they've done is not okay. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how the next 4 years go, and seeing if we can get a manager in that really pushes players, and that we're at the moment we're too old. We need to get some fresh blood in there, and I think with the way our 17s just as far as they went in their tournament and some of the promising stuff that they had, even our friendly in Portugal that we just had where we drew them. Yeah. I believe we drew them.
We did.
I'm sure that's not their best team, obviously, but for us to put a bunch of younger players out and hungry young players is I think it's a testament to where our future is going and where it needs to go. So I'm excited to see how it goes. I'm devastated we won't be seeing them a U.S. Badge at the World Cup, but it is what it is. Hopefully we're looking forward to 2022. Yeah,
that was the reason for the question. Because that is a massive United States. It's a question here because we are rethinking the whole system at the moment.
Right, and we need to be. It's something that needs to be talked about. For a lot of the people that don't know, Sunil Gulati is not thrown his hat, I guess, in the ring for U.S. soccer presidency this year, and it's the first time in I believe 12 years. That is it 12 or it might be more than
I'm
that.
Not sure.
But so we'll have a new president this year, and I think it needs to happen. Obviously, with and he's done a lot for U.S. soccer, he really has. But I think it's time we need someone in there that's going to take some chances and do some different things because we obviously aren't the direction in which we're going isn't a great one. So, but we have the capability and the talent to do it here. We just needs to be carried with correctly.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that is I expected you to say something along those lines. Clearly, it's a subject that you're passionate about. You know,
Right.
I know I am. So yeah, Cody, I think I've got more questions, but you don't have the time because you have a life. So, so I mean, I could literally, yeah, I wouldn't run out. But
There you go.
I really I want to make sure I take the time to tell you while I'm recording. Thank you so much for the listeners and viewers. This interview got delayed so many times. Like, I got sick like 3 times. Then Cody has life stuff going on, and we finally got it together. All right.
I'm glad we were able to, for sure. I'm glad. I've been wanting to catch up, and so it's good. I'm glad we were able to make it work.
Yeah, this has been awesome. I've learned a lot, and I'm sure a lot of Blues and Deeks fans out there have also enjoyed this experience. Really cool opportunity, Cody. Thank you so much.
Big game today, by the way, 1 o'clock. Well,
Yeah.
I guess it's 5:30 UK time, but yeah, 1 o'clock here.
1 o'clock
Excited.
here. Yeah, we're gonna be watching a lot of kids play.
Yep, I know.
You
Yeah,
know?
because they were. Yeah. No, it's gonna be a young group, I believe. So I'm excited to see what they can do.
Early, really quick. Derby prediction Sunday.
Everton, obviously.
Any score?
2-1.
2-1.
2-1.
Yes. All right.
Rooney, I don't know. He's on fire right now. He's had a good couple games. I say he gets 2.
Okay, Rooney gets 2. All right, you've heard it here first. Cody Arnoux predicts the future, and it's what's going to happen. Deal with it. All right, so Cody, thanks so much. I know you gotta roll. Appreciate your time, and hopefully I'll see you at one of these weight games coming up one of these years.
Absolutely. Thank you, Gerry. I appreciate everything you do, man. I appreciate it.
No, thank you. All right, man. All right, and that's it for our interview with Cody Arnoux. All right, thanks a lot to him. He went to a lot of trouble to be able to come on his lunch break. It's awesome. Super nice guy. Super humble guy. He actually is he's a good example for a lot of young American footballers. So you're going to see the different paths you can take, because he took almost all of them, you know? So anyway, I guess that is it. If you're digging the videos, please subscribe, like, comment. If you've got any thoughts about the interview with Cody, that's great. Any thoughts about what he was saying about U.S. soccer, U.S. football, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, certainly put that on there. All right. We look forward to connecting and hearing from you. All right. Thanks so much, and we'll see you at the next one. All right. Bye.